Did you know you can sponsor your favorite podcast on the Spin Market Podcast Network? Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Stockdale, host of the Spin Market Report. In 2025, our podcast had over 26,000 streams, and our YouTube channels had over 1.4 million views. Whether you're promoting a product, service, or event, we'll help you reach the audience that matters. Get more information on how to sponsor a podcast at spinmarket.com. Spin Market, your business, your message, our platform.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
Another Marketing Monday.
It's always such an important day of the week.
Every Monday we got a new episode comes out. We've only ever repeated a couple times, and usually when we repeat, it's because we got something cooking that we need to kind of push towards. So, it's kind of cool. We got somebody else here from Iowa Central.
Yes.
Earlier, maybe within the last month, we had somebody here from Iowa Central.
And Mary Ludwig from Iowa Central here. She was in charge of some money.
Yes, she's
She's one of the money ladies.
I think eventually we're just going to bring all of Iowa Central on here,
should.
one by one. Jesse, we're coming for you.
And Jesse's been on some of our other podcasts.
He has. I think he's been on most of the other ones.
But not ours yet.
Not ours yet.
Not yet, but we will get him.
So the beautiful part about this week is we're sitting down with Sean Mulvihill. Sean, you are the director of theater out at Iowa Central. Relatively new. Okay. And that's not the greatest introduction. So how about you introduce yourself a little bit? Kind of tell us, who you are and why you are the director at the theater at Iowa Central.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I started out doing theater professionally when I was still in high school. And I ended up going to L.A. As a kid and kind of like getting my degree there in theater and doing film and TV and video games, commercials, all kinds of stuff as an actor, traveled around the world. And eventually I started directing and teaching, and I realized I really liked it. And, over the last 10 years or so, I got more and more heavily into teaching theater and directing shows. And I just was like, man, this is just kind of a natural progression from being that actor who just loved kind of being on stage, and then realizing how the business works, how the creative part of things works. And when this opportunity came up, I'm originally from Chicago area, but both my parents are from Iowa, so all my family's back here. And my wife and I, we just had a baby, so he's going to be one next week.
Oh, congratulations!
So, thank you. So it was just like a perfect kind of homecoming, good timing, and it was the right fit.
We hear this a lot. People get married, start having children, and then they come to Fort Dodge because they like where we live and the things going on here, and it's a great place to raise a family. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we've been loving all the amenities, and now he's almost one, so he can start to take advantage of more of the activities and stuff too.
So what got you interested in just I guess doing theater or acting? I feel like everyone, when they grow up, they're just like, I'm going to pretend to be a cowboy or a spaceman or a princess or whatever it is. Clip that out so everybody hears me saying, I want to be a princess. But at the same time, did that just never go away for you, or was there something else that kind of drove you towards that?
Well, I saw Peter Pan, I remember when I was probably 6 years old. The live stage tour was in town. I think it's a theater in Joliet called the Rialto, Joliet, Illinois. Beautiful old theater with one of those organs, and it was just like, it seats, 2,000-3,000 people, and it was totally full. But somehow we were in the very first row, my mom and I. My mom, when she was growing up in Quad Cities area, she would always go to the opera with her great aunt, and so she had this habit of always going to the theater. So she thought, I'm going to take my kids to do that. But when I was just sitting there, I just remember them flying around on the stage up there, and I was just like, whoa, I want to do that, just as a little guy. And luckily there were some teachers in my elementary school that did theater stuff. And one summer, is kind of a funny story. My fourth grade teacher went to the same swimming pool as us. So in the summer, and I was here out there tanning herself. So after third grade, I went over to her, and during the summer, I'm sure she didn't want to be bothered, but I was like, hey, are you going to do any plays next year during school? And she says, I don't do a play. She's like, but you could do a play. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you could direct it. She's like, you pick a play at the library. if you want to do it, I'll stay after school and chaperone your practices, and you can put it on in the library at the school.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
So I did. And because I went through all that, like I had all the kids over to my house, and I remember making a coffee table out of a refrigerator box with the kids for the set and everything. And my mom and dad were like, well, he's really into this. And there was some like acting classes at the Park District there in Bolingbrook, Illinois, where I'm from. And they enrolled me in those classes. And then from there, I just started getting roles in all like the local community theaters until eventually I started making a little money doing it when I was 16.
Do you remember the teacher's name?
Yeah, Nancy Chase. Yeah.
That's
and,
awesome.
Shout out to Nancy Chase.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And actually, the fourth grade teacher was named Mrs. Acton, Sarah Acton. And her husband was like the football coach at the high school. Yeah, they were
Two different worlds
power
there,
couple.
yes.
Power couple.
That's so cool. I mean, and now you're teaching. It just makes me think you're probably impacting somebody like this somewhere, and whether or not you know it, there's probably somebody out there that's just like, man, I want to do what Mr. Mulvihill's out there doing. This is so cool, You never know.
Well, that's one of our goals with this new thing that we just got the grant for, which is this independent student productions, which is the students apply starting in the first week of March. They have to make a whole proposal of a play that they want to put on, or it could be a cabaret show or a musical, whatever they want to do, but they have a very small budget. And we're giving preference to ones that they write and create themselves. So it's just like to try to give that self-creating work idea to the students, because that's a lot of how you end up making a career. It's not waiting around for those auditions and for the phone to ring. It's like creating the stuff yourself, kind of like what you're doing here with your podcast.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you build it, they will come. Maybe not everybody all at once, but they'll be here.
They'll start trickling in.
Absolutely. So, since your arrival, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen or that you've kind of helped out with? I do know that right before you came, they kind of redid was Decker Auditorium is now like the Theater for Performing Arts at Iowa Central, which looks amazing. But like, I kind of want to drill into that a little later. But like, what are some of the changes you've seen since you've been there?
Well, yeah, obviously the renovation was done, but then how do we live with this new space and make the most use out of it? So
yeah.
The music school is so basically up until a few years ago, there was no actual theater major at Iowa Central, but they had theater classes. Now we actually have a major in Associates of Arts. It's called the Theater Transfer Major. So students come in and they can actually specialize in either technical theater or the performance track, but there's like 5 core classes that they have to take. So there's technical theater, there's intro to theater, there's acting 1, acting 2, improvisational acting, which is a new one that I added this year. So the first time improvisational acting is going to run is in the spring of next year.
I love that.
Yes,
That's so much fun.
Yes, and.
Yeah.
Am I getting it?
You both should come.
I think I just passed, right? Yes,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
improv, right?
Yeah, that's the number one step. That's the first step. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, but technical theater, is that like the behind the scenes kind of stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
can you run the light boards? Can you program the lights? Patch them into the board? Can you, make the sounds, find the sounds, put them on, run the lights and what we use a lot of digital projections. So we have like 5 projectors in the theater that Brady O'Brien, our theater coordinator, uses to put so we don't use, for the newer shows, we don't use backdrops. We project it there. So like you can run that all out of one software. So one person can actually run the lights, the sound effects, and these projections, the backdrops, from one touch of a button.
Which I think about that and like how it used to have to be back in the day. Everyone had a headset. And it was like cue this, and you had to change the lights and the music, and then or somebody in the pit had to start waving their arms. And what a production that must have been.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely it's still a lot of work, but there's definitely some technology that we're taking advantage of.
So how do you help students like grow as they're kind of performing in this stuff? I kind of want to ask, like, do you ever get people that aren't theater majors that go out for some of these courses?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would say right now in the musical we have 35 actors and only just a handful of them are theater majors.
Oh, cool.
So, and we have some that are just enrolled in, a class just so they can be in the musical. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the biggest challenges is like in real life for teenagers, which most of them are teenagers, if you put yourself out there and do anything too big or too emotional, you might get made fun of. And if someone's rolling on their camera, you might get made fun of for the rest of your entire school career, right? So like there's a whole thing drilled into kids nowadays. And I mean, obviously when I was younger too, but you had to remember what they did. You couldn't have it on video and watch it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like people are just on edge. Like, am I going to get like trolled for whatever I'm doing? These young kids, because everyone's got the phones out and this and that. So one of the things is, it's like they have to learn that like being on stage is the opposite of real life. Because in real life, if you go too big, you might get made fun of. But on stage, if you go too small, then you look like a horrible actor. Okay. So it's like the opposite. So they're going to make fun of you for not being a good actor. So you got to switch, what you're going to get made fun of for. So it's all about that negative reinforcement.
Oh man. And that makes me think about there's so many different opportunities when I was a kid growing up where I was just like, I don't want to get made fun of, so I'm not even going to try this. And like nowadays, I don't know if that's still a thing. I feel like people have branched out and broadened their horizons a lot more now than when we were younger. Maybe I want to say you're my age, but when I was younger, pre-cell phones and stuff in school. But do you feel like there's been a big change from then till now? Do you think people now are more open to trying new things?
I think, the emphasis is like, can I get likes off of this? It's kind of like, so the people who are trying new things, a lot of times they're doing it to like get some followers. I mean, it's like, I think there's a lot of living through social media. And now that's not to say all the kids, but like in my acting class, I have to, I had Brady installed some hooks outside of the acting room door. They have to hang their bag up there and leave their phone in it. Because otherwise, like, they'll just instinctively take their phone out of their pocket, like during an acting class. Like they might even, like I've had kids at rehearsal, like they take their phone out of their pocket while they were on stage during a what are you doing? Like, come on, like you can wait after this, So that's one of the things, is just like be here, present, and now, because that's actually how you become an artist. An artist is like capturing a moment, no matter what. Whether you're painting or you're acting or you're making music, you're capturing a moment or a mood or a feeling. But if you don't feel anything, if you don't notice anything, you're not going to be able to become that artist that you want to be. And if you want to get those views, you've got to be a good artist. So like it's like it's a circle. So I think once they can get away from the phone and into the moment, that gives them a chance to be creative, at least.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think about, like, I listen to some comedy podcasts and they'll be like, I just go to Starbucks, get a coffee, and then a notepad, and I just write down things. And sometimes you'll see something, sometimes you won't. Sometimes somebody will say something that'll make you think of something else. But if you just have your phone, you're not paying attention to any of that, and you can't be creative without, if you're just locked into the phone. So you make a good point. So the Center for Performing Arts, it's a huge deal. Can you talk about, like, do you know any of the backstory behind like them going to, like, when they ended up renovating it and turning it into what it is now? Do you know any of the story behind that before you got here?
I know a little bit of the story. Now, I don't know a lot about the fundraising side of things. I do know the price tag is approximately $14 million, though. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that was a miscommunication that is going to kind of be remedied this summer is that someone told the contractor that it's a lecture hall, or they believe that it's a lecture hall and that we didn't do theater in there, that we weren't putting on these huge musicals, Mm-hmm. So there was some, they put like some limiters on the audio system so that like you can't really crank it, mm-hmm. like, because they were like, oh, well, they're just going to be doing like talking in here. So let's just put these and it's like built into the software. Oh. So like they're trying to get that company to come back and actually like take those limiters off, just so like our sound person can set exactly what they want. There's no software like pulling everything down, because with the Center for Performing Arts, we have a series where we're bringing in touring acts from around the country, around the world. We had the Barricade Boys in from London in January. So these acts come in, and like one thing we already fixed was that the soundboard, you had to use that board. You couldn't bring in an outside board, and all these touring acts, they bring their own board a lot of the time. So like it was like something that they had to finally get fixed. And so they've been like haggling back and forth with the contractor, like, hey, like, are we still in the warranty? Like, can we get this, fixed up? So they're still fine tuning things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, everything else is amazing. Like the acoustics in the room now are incredible. It's just, it's a joy to come to work every day. I mean, I really do appreciate the facilities. We got a great conference room. We have our meetings in with nice windows, I think, I couldn't ask for a better place to come to work every day.
Do you think that's changed what Iowa Central's able to like offer, maybe not only to students, but also the community?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the fact that you've got all those classrooms now. I mean, there's just more space to do all kinds of different things. And in terms of the, rentals of the space, I know that we'll work with Stage Door, which is a youth theater that comes in the summer. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in action because the last year it happened before I had arrived. So I think there's definitely more opportunity for outside groups to potentially come in. And obviously what I'd really ultimately like to do is there's 2 great community theaters in town for adults, and I'd like to start working with them just, as an acting coach or, sort of bringing people in. But I mean, there's really no reason why people from the community can't take Iowa Central classes like Acting 1 and Acting 2. Like if you're a retired community theater actor in Fort Dodge, why don't you come take my acting classes at the school? There's no age limit on them. I mean, I don't care how, when I was in San Diego before this, my Exuberant Theater Company, I taught a community class at the Pacific Beach Performing Arts. And so I had, my youngest student was 7 years old, and my oldest was 90. Like anyone can do this. And like all the stuff that you're learning in theater, it's applicable to these community theater shows that you're doing. So it's just like, man, like I really feel like I could have like really nailed that role. Like, come on in, Mm-hmm. I'm working with the high school speech team, some of them. And that's been a lot of fun because in Illinois where I grew up, we didn't have this like hardcore like speech culture, like go down and like you get like a banner and like the state competition. We didn't have that in Illinois. We just had a festival. You just like go do theater and have fun. There was no awards or anything. So it's like, it's a different vibe. So the kids take it really seriously. So that's been fun to see.
Oh, they do take it serious.
Oh yeah.
I've years when my daughter was in high school, was in charge of the concession stands and they would have speech contests at the school. And so you really saw all the energy and the hard work that went into that for each of those students.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One of the groups from Fort Dodge, actually they had several groups going to All-State coming up here. And yeah, I mean, I was impressed when I first saw them because they're taking full-length shows. The Fort Dodge team is what they do. They actually take a full-length show like Phantom of the Opera and they'll cut it into a 10-minute version of it.
Oh, cool.
So they're like, doing a lot of work just to write it, to get it and get the music and everything. So and that's even before they've started rehearsals. So yeah, they're putting in a lot of hours.
I always kind of wished I would have done speech competitions. They were around when I was growing up, but I just never did them. And some of my friends did them and they always seemed so fun. I don't know. Yeah.
And they have radio too. So there's kids doing basically a podcast. I worked with one group like that. Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, pretty much anything, short films. I mean, speech, there's so many, mime, improv. It's great.
Yeah, I remember one of the speech ones that they did was it was all wordplay. So it was like, if you were to say it's really funny to watch it, but if you were to go up there and say it, it's like, oh, you have to say this all the correct way in the correct order in order for it to make sense by the time you get to the end. And it was really kind of fun. All right. So has redoing the auditorium there, has it allowed you guys to do things you weren't able to do before at Iowa Central? Again, you are new, so you don't really know exactly what they were able to do before, but how have things changed for you there? Are you able to, I guess, I don't know, do they have stuff to suspend things from the ceiling or I don't know how any of it works, but.
Well, they did have the fly system in there before.
What? That's wild.
So they were able to fly in backdrops, but they did update some of them. So some of them are electric now. Okay. So you actually just have to push a button. Someone doesn't have to pull it, and because the other ones you have to take weights and put them on there, and we have I want to say 3 or 4 electrics, but all the rest are manual.
So this wasn't just some we threw some paint up and a couple of lights and now it's new. They've revamped pretty much everything there.
Yeah, I mean all the audio, and there's actually a video system in there that they didn't have before. That's like a multi-camera setup. So we have 4 different camera angles on the stage. So theoretically, you could do a pretty nice video of a show if you had someone switching it. So yeah, there's a lot of little bells and whistles that we haven't fully taken advantage of yet as well, just because it's a small team. So you got to focus on the essentials first, and then hopefully this summer we can dig into a few of the other things we want to play with.
Absolutely. So one of the things I have on here is what productions are coming up. This kind of ties into, do you kind of just have to wait until the right production comes along to use some of the right tools that are there? Because if it has the availability to do most anything, I mean, not Oklahoma doesn't use everything, so you're not going to need it for something like that. But I guess let's kind of sidetrack on that. But what productions are coming up there? That's the main question.
Okay, so this is going to air after Monday, just because the students don't know yet what the shows are for next season, but we know, and we're
we
actually
get the secret.
We're announcing it Wednesday, but this is going to air after that, right?
Yes, it is. Beautiful.
Okay, so next year's season, you're the first to really hear this outside of our department. So in the fall, we're going to do William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is his most famous comedy. And I'm really excited about that. And then, and we're calling this year, we're kind of theming it like the roots of theater. Okay, so we're doing a Shakespeare. And then in the spring, we're going to do Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance, which is one of the most produced operettas of all time. So it's they call it operetta because it's light opera. It's a comedy. It's written actually in 1880, but it's actually still there's Gilbert and Sullivan societies all over the country that produce their works, and this is probably their most famous and funniest work. So there's a couple songs that you would recognize probably if you heard them. They're known for their like incredibly fast wordplay. And so it's just going to give the students a lot to chew on. We've got a really strong, we've got a new choir teacher as well, Jacob Peterson.
Oh yeah.
And he's some you might want to bring on here at some point. And he's building that choir, and we've got some really strong singers, and this operetta is really going to show them off.
That's so cool.
I think that is really exciting for our community because we are in a great spot. When I say that, because the nearest Sioux City, Des Moines, wherever, you're talking an hour and a half to 2 hours away. And so there's a lot of opportunity here with facilities like the new auditorium and the facilities and all the sound equipment and bringing in new people like yourself and the choir director. That's exciting. I did not know most of this. I just knew that they had, remodeled it, but I didn't know all the details like this. This really gets me thrilled. That's
awesome. I think this is super fun. One of the questions I always like to ask when I'm involved with like these types of podcasts, how do you choose what you're going to do? I mean, you could do anything. You could do any play, musical, whatever. How do you choose? Is there like a board? Does money come into play? I don't know. How does this all work?
Well, there are a lot of factors that go into it. We know which students we have returning, which students that we're recruiting is a part of it, but not all of it. And then, there is a money element to it, but the school gives us a budget that we can could do any show just at our level.
I do want to say these aren't cheap to license out to do. I used to just be, well, how much can it cost? It's thousands of dollars sometimes for these things.
The musicals are a lot more expensive.
Oh, okay.
The straight plays you can get for a lot less. But,
I didn't know that.
Just because there's a lot more pieces that they send you, and there's a lot more demand for them, so they can charge more.
Okay.
But there's a few main companies that license the shows. The nice thing about our season this year is that both of these shows are actually in the public domain, so we don't have to pay for any rights.
Oh,
we can. I'm going to lightly adapt the Shakespeare, and we're gonna make them our own. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you license a show, you're actually beholden to exactly what they say. Like you can't change a word, you can't change anything about the script, according to your contract with them. So you can sometimes, and I know that there's like a lot of churches. Like I actually was, before I came here, I was in San Diego in a all Catholic girls high school. I was down in the final round and potentially taking over their theater program. And they're like, hey, so if we were to do such and such a show, how would you change it to edit out, the bad words and all this? I'm like, well, technically you're not allowed to do that. If you want to do a show for your church that's going to be church friendly, you got to find a church show. You can't do these shows. It's not allowed. So you're technically like breaching your contract to edit and make the show better for your people. So it's, it's not maybe it's not well known outside of the theater world, but these are just, because these people worked for years on it. And then, they can say, now that's not to say if you were to make a bunch of changes, you can submit it to MTI. They'll send it to the writer. And as long as you give enough lead time, they'll get back to you and say yes or no.
Oh,
so
cool.
You could still potentially change something, but you can't just okay, we got this now. Let's X this out, change this, forget that song. Because I remember my cousin's school in DC where his kids go, they did a show and there was a song about divorce at their Catholic school and they cut the song out of the show.
Oh,
They completely cut the number. I was like, well, then why did you pick that one?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, and you go back to the copywriting one. We see that frequently when people try to do for slideshows or something like that, and they use certain kinds of music, and then they videotape it, and they wonder why.
Yeah, it either gets taken down
YouTube
or
copyright strikes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It's either that or, I mean, even on social medias, we've seen it there a couple different places. It's not so bad on most social media platforms, but they'll take it down. You know, if somebody finds it, they'll take it down. So,
Or you'll get a little memo that says, your monetary,
oh yeah, you're demonetized.
you're demonetized on this, and it is because it's been taken over by the original whatever on it. And I've had people ask, well, what is this? What? I don't understand. Well, there's copyright issues. Those are things that you have to pay attention to.
It's wild that, like, I'm obviously very well aware of that, but I guess I never really thought too much. I know you have to pay to license a musical or a play, but I guess I didn't really think about you can't change it. I don't know. Like you said, maybe not everyone knows that. I guess I didn't know that. But again, if you're going to license something from somebody, you can't just be like, well, I'm going to make it this way and it's going to have their name on it, but it's going to be, so I don't know. I guess it makes sense. You can't just like have a McDonald's and then just sell Burger King Whoppers out of it, or something. I don't know. So what goes into like producing these shows? Like you got a list of ones you kind of want to choose from, the door's wide open for what you want to choose, but how do you go through from, all the way at the beginning, all the way to the end, all the way to the final curtain call? What goes into all of this? Do you have to, you had mentioned, we know who's coming back this year, whose perspective, et cetera, the budget, everything, but like what all goes into this? There's got to be a lot of stuff I'm not even thinking about.
Well, we talked this year about just wanting to sort of people understand that the shows that we know now and love on Broadway, they came from somewhere. One of the things I teach in the theater history class is about what's called the Commedia dell'arte. It's like an Italian tradition of comedy where like in the 1400s, they would travel around like to festivals and they would either do it like on the back of a wagon, with a stage, or they would do jump up on park benches and do these performances. And they were basically these, what they call stock characters. So like pretty much all sitcoms that we have on TV now are based on these characters. So, like for example, like if you watch the show Friends, you got Phoebe and Joey are what we call the zany. Zany is where we get the word zany from. Oh. So like they're like the ones that Joey's just like a kind of like a womanizer, not too smart, and he's always thinking about food. Yep. That's our like Arlecchino, one of these characters from Commedia dell'arte. And then Zoe's like kind of like spacey and out there and like kind of artsy. Mm-hmm. Okay, and she's a different kind of zany. And then you've got the one who acts tough but is a coward. They call that Capitano in Commedia, and that's Chandler, right? He's like, he thinks he's a tough guy, but then he always gets scared. Yeah. Then there's another character called the Dottore, who's like a doctor who will not stop talking, but he's not that smart. But he thinks he is. He's super pompous, and that's the paleontologist Ross.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
So this is so these characters. You think you're watching Friends? Oh, let me check out this new. Well, that's to me that was new because that was when I was a kid. But right, but so
I'm in.
So you're watching a sitcom now. You're like, oh, this new show's out. No, that's not a new show. That's been around for hundreds of years. And even the Commedia is based on some Greek comedies. Like so, we're talking like these characters go back thousands of years. Some of them, and so whatever you think is new in the arts, whether it's a movie or TV show, no, it's been done. You just don't know about it.
Oh, that's wild.
That's so cool. Because now, I mean, my sitcom of choice is obviously Seinfeld, but like now you just have me thinking it's almost the exact same thing. It's just transposed over to a different. That's so cool. I never knew that. Again, this is something I never really thought too much about, but again, this is why this podcast is awesome. Everybody gets to learn while I learn along the way. Oh man.
I want to ask one question. Has there ever been a Shakespeare play put on at the theater before?
To my knowledge, there is not. At least in the modern era, they have not done a Shakespeare.
Okay, that would be my opinion because I haven't heard.
But the high school did one this year.
Oh, did they?
So Lindy Krug directed Macbeth at Fort Dodge Senior High this year. And she used a modernized version, so they took the language and they changed it to modern language, which I think made it really accessible for the students. So that was great. And one of the things that happened, so we took a group over to see that. And then in November, we had Iowa State's theater department chair, Brad Dell, came down, and he had adapted the Julius Caesar by Shakespeare into a 90-minute production of that, like a one-act. And he brought his entire department. They put on the show for us on the stage. And after that, all my students that I had been, in my acting classes that came, they're like, can we do a Shakespeare next year? Like, can we do that? like we could do that. And I think it was just seeing their peers like pull it off and like having it be like a gripping show. They're like, oh, we could do that. Because as long as you understand the language, because like Shakespeare, it's basically just like, you got to think about Shakespeare as like performing, even though it's in English, Old English, you're basically you have to translate it first. So you just translate it into modern English. Now then you go back, they just took that step out for the high school. They just translated to modern English and then kept that language and used it. We're going to translate it into modern for ourselves and then memorize and perform the old version. And you will understand what's going on because we understand what's going on.
That's 100% perfect. Because I remember it was 11th grade, our 11th grade English teacher's like, we're going to read some Shakespeare. And I was like, you're reading it and you're like, it seems like I'm talking to a teenager and I don't understand the lingo. It's like, I get what's happening here, but it's almost like an accent of some sort that I just don't get. And it wasn't until they were like, well, this is basically like the contemporary version of this. I'm like, oh, I get what's going on here now, even though this is English and I should understand it. But Shakespeare was also very good at kind of making up new words and just mushing two together and being like, you should know what this means, even though you might not know what it means a few hundred years removed. But yeah, reading what it was supposed to mean and then going back and rereading it made it way more powerful, I will say, because otherwise it's just a lot of, I don't know, just seems like pomp and circumstance without I don't really understand the substance behind it. But when you finally read the modernized version, you're like, oh, like King Lear hits like way harder now than it would have if I had actually just read what was on what William had written, or William Shakespeare had written. So how does a student get involved in this? Let me say like somebody's listening to this and they're like, well, now I kind of want to do some Shakespeare. I want to try something out. Like maybe I want to take one class. How do they get involved?
Well, yeah, right now for Iowa Central students, anyone can audition for the plays. So the fall play auditions are basically the third day of school, like the first week on the Wednesday, we'll have auditions. And for the fall play, you don't even have to prepare anything. You just have to come in and we play some improv games and then we'll have you read from the script. So it's really just like, even if it's your first time, you'll have a good time and, we'll get to see what you can do. And then for the spring musical, they have to prepare a song to come in with. And then from there, we go from there. And those auditions are right before Thanksgiving, typically. So any student can get in. And then if you were from the community and you wanted to join, like, for example, if you wanted to join choir at this school, anyone from the community could. I think you have to take 1 credit. We haven't sorted out, we're sort of kind of deciding like how to move forward. If we did want people from the community to be in the shows, how that would look. Would they need to enroll in a credit? But as it stands right now, it's kind of on a as needed basis. Because in the show that we're doing right now, Prince of Egypt, we have a couple kids in the show. So we've got some elementary, middle schooler, and a couple high schoolers in the show, which has been fantastic to let them work with the college kids. I think they've gotten a lot out of it, and we've really enjoyed their energy.
So arts and theater in Fort Dodge is something that I feel like it gets a good spotlight. You got the Fine Arts Association. There's multiple musical and or play organizations in town. Iowa Central as well. You had even mentioned Stage Door, which I think I saw some pictures of that last year when they did there's like 1,000 kids out there. It seems like it's wild. But the question is, how does theater impact, Fort Dodge, the surrounding area, the students, et cetera?
Well, I think from the college's perspective, we kind of want to showcase what we can offer, like a really fun experience for the students who are thinking about coming here out of high school, and kind of just show that off. But I think in terms of the community, what we get back is just like an exposure to all these shows that, you'd have to drive, like you said, 2 hours to go see if the tour was coming by, and a lot of these ones that, they're not touring anymore. So and really some of the older shows, like the only way to see them is if a local college or high school puts them on, because they're not reviving a lot of these ones and touring them around the country because they're played out now. Maybe in 20 years, they recycle and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, I just think it's just one of those things where, especially with the, relatively long winter here, it's like it's nice to have, when there's snow on the ground, something to go do as opposed to just, get out the remote control, like it's just so great to go and see a show. So, I mean, there's nothing better than this time of year because now all the schools, the college is putting on theirs and then all the high schools will be putting on their shows. And and then we'll get into the summer and the stage door. So I think there's always a cultural activity going on in town. Obviously with all the live music in town, it's great. Like if you are someone who likes to go out and see shows or listen to music, I mean, you're definitely not lacking in Fort Dodge. You don't have to drive to a bigger city to do that. So, and I mean, I think there's room for even more. I mean, I think that we can still keep growing that. So that's what I'm looking for, is ways that we can collaborate with the community as well at the college. I mean, we're like, for example, the college is right next to Friendship Haven. So they come over to the matinee on Wednesday. So they're going to come over and see the Prince of Egypt.
It's awesome.
It's one of those things. Well, we should, we go over, they Christmas Carol over there and stuff like that. So looking for maybe I'll do some improv with the seniors. So if you're listening,
that could be so fun.
If you're listening, you're from Friendship Haven, would you give me a call? Because I really would like to do improv with the
We've got
seniors.
an in.
Yes, we do. We've got an in on it.
Oh, man.
You brought up, both you and Peter brought up a really good point about Fort Dodge. We have every kind of musical genre imaginable here. We've got the Carl King Band. We have the symphony. We have marching bands. Community choir. We've got all kinds of bands. We've got Peter playing.
Plays, musicals. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
The same thing that you would find in a large community, Des Moines or whatever, is physically right here in Fort Dodge. And with, I would say, just as comparable in quality and enthusiastic actors and musicians.
Yeah, it always blows me away how talented everyone here is. And I'm involved in the thick of it, and I'm still just wowed by like the people standing next to me half the time. Okay, so performing arts has impacted your life. Musicals, plays, doing it from a young age till now. Now you're an instructor. What about somebody that maybe this might not be their career move? Do you think musicals, plays, performing arts can impact people's lives downstream, even if it's not like what they're going to do for the rest of their life?
Oh, absolutely. And, from just having more confidence, like if you were to get interviewed for, say, become a business person and you get interviewed on a podcast like this, if you've been on stage in front of a crowd, you just have that confidence under your belt. It's really exposure therapy to that fear of public speaking that a lot of people have. I think you just, get up there and get over your shyness is probably the best thing for anyone. Mm-hmm. And, I think the relationships and the friendships, like, I got married last year and
congratulations.
Thank you. And, three of the guys that stood up in my wedding, I'd been on stage with.
Cool.
So one of them was an improv comedy guy I did with in New York in a show, and then two guys I'd done musical theater with in Utah. So and just kept in touch because we had just such amazing, on these summer theater contracts where you go around regional theaters in the country. Like some of the best memories of my life are some of these summers doing theater.
What's the most rewarding part of all this for you? Being a teacher's got to be very rewarding, being an instructor of any kind. But how about for you? What's the most rewarding part of all of this?
I think really seeing for the shows themselves, seeing the cast sort of like eventually take over the show and like have that ownership of it that they didn't have. If you remember the first read through when you gave them the script and they sat around a table reading it, mm-hmm. and there was, kind of tentative in like, and then when you really see them going for it, especially the ones that were, a little more shy at the beginning. I think that for me is like, these kids are opening up, just becoming more comfortable in their skin, just being more open, like you said, just to new experiences, being feeling creative and I don't know, I just feel like there's like the confidence level just goes through the roof once we get the performances going. So I'm really excited about this weekend, which is show weekend for us over there.
That's going to be so much fun. I've only got a couple other questions left for you before I get to what is the last question on all of these. But if you could direct any play or musical, what would it be? If you could just open budget, you have the biggest stage, anything available to you. What would
you have the best performers that you could ever.
It's probably not going to be me, but what would it be?
Gosh, that is that's the $1 million question because they have probably $1 million budget show. Well, I've actually been thinking about maybe developing a show from scratch. There's a book that I really like. I think some people had to read it in high school, but I read it in college. It's called Siddhartha. It's by a German author, Hermann Hesse, and I really like the story. It's kind of like a story of introspection and finding a deeper truth and a deeper meaning to life. And I always thought it would be cool to to develop that into a script and put it on stage, or maybe it's a film. So I've kind of like outlined it but there's certain things about it. It's just like you have to adapt it, because a book is like the inner consciousness of a character is a big part of reading a book. It's different. So when we talk about on stage, though, it's about the dialogue, like how people talk and interact. So it might really lend itself to the stage. And then film, you would say it's a visual medium. So like, how can we say open it up for film? Like what's the picture that we would show as opposed to the thoughts that someone's thinking? Because it's hard you can't go really, unless you want to have this voiceover running the whole show. How do you get inside people's heads? So I think it might really lend itself to a theater production. So it's something that I've been kind of massaging over. The last show that I wrote and produced was in 2023 in San Diego. I did a show at the Ocean Beach Playhouse there that I had written. It's like an hour-long thing where I played like 11 different characters, and it was really fun. But I played all 11 characters because I couldn't afford the other to hire the other 10. So maybe I'll do this one. Since you're offering, I'll do it with the full. See if I can get Sean Penn for this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, I mean, with my checkbook and your know-how, we can get this done. All right. I warned everybody. What's your favorite musical of all time? I'm coming for you guys next. So what's your favorite musical of all time?
I would say my favorite musical of all time is one that I've done a few times. I really like it. I love the music. It's called Man of La Mancha. So if you know the song The Impossible Dream, that Elvis made it pretty famous, and Robert Goulet. Okay. Man of La Mancha. It's based on Don Quixote, Cervantes.
Oh, cool.
Really, really great show. Great music.
Cheryl, do you have one?
Jersey Boys.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed that. I mean, I've been Sound of Music and a variety of other ones, but I really enjoyed Jersey Boys.
That's a great show.
How about Behind the Ones and Twos over there? You got one?
I like Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Ooh, nice.
Mackenzie says Les Mis.
Wow, that one's deep.
That's a deep one. This is probably too cheesy. I was like Stomp. It's barely even what you could call a musical, but it is a musical because it's like rhythms. But still, like I went and saw that at the Orpheum in New York, like off on Broadway. It's on Broadway, it's off Broadway. But yeah, so like I went and saw that. That was really kind of cool. But yeah, someone said Sound of Music. Like for some reason, I growing up, that was one that I liked. It's so wild when you think back to like all of the kids movies you watch. A lot of them are musicals.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Well,
maybe
they're still musicals. They just have animated characters doing the musical part.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's just kind of fun how that all works out. So this has been really cool. Is there anything I forgot to cover in the questions that you'd like to kind of talk about?
Gosh, I mean, I think we talked about it all. I mean, I just invite the community to come see a show or come take a class, or invite me if you want a workshop or a master class in some aspect of theater, or I do like team building for companies. I've done them for people all over the country, building their confidence speaking with clients or whatever it is. So these improv things can be very helpful, and that's one of the things that I'd offer to any business in town, to talk to me, and we can customize a workshop of some kind.
Especially on an improv level, it might help you learn how to work together a little bit, because especially if you don't know what the other person's going to do, you got to adapt and overcome. Interesting. Again, something else I'd never thought of.
I love the improv idea. I enjoy improv a lot.
It's a good time. I mean, it's a great time, and it's been fun improvising with you on this podcast for sure. The
very first Iowa Central tour I did when I was a junior in high school, they had people doing improv up on stage as just like a little, we're going to go stop in here and see what they're going to do. And they were just like, just name something, and somebody's like pillows, and then they got to make an improv about or whatever it is, and it was kind of fun to watch them, to do that. I guess, in retrospect, there's a lot of stuff where when I was younger, maybe I didn't appreciate it enough, but now it's like, man, it's so cool that they did that, and these people were like barely a year or two older than I was, and they're up there doing that. A lot of guts to do it. Okay. So I ask everyone the same question at the end of every episode. And we're a marketing firm here, so it's obviously about marketing. But has marketing ever impacted you in a way where you didn't realize it until afterwards? Or has it ever impacted your life in a way where, down the road you just realize oh, yeah, they got me or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so when I was a kid, the Happy Meals had these they were like all the things that are in a Happy Meal, but they turned into like a little person. So like you could open up the milkshake and there was like a little happy little guy with like arms in there, or like the fries. And I just remember like, I don't know if they changed it every month or whatever, but like, you know, but all my friends in elementary school, we'd always be like, oh man, I've got the fries. He's like, oh, I've got the shake. Man, I just need the burger and I've got the whole set. You know, it was just like one of these things where we were obsessed with McDonald's. Like, and I mean, yeah, I think the food tasted pretty good to a young kid, but like, I realized later, like that was just their full on marketing thing. Of course, we didn't think about it, but we're making because my parents have never eaten at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like they would never go to McDonald's. But when I was a kid, I remember thinking my parents loved McDonald's because I was asking them to go there. Since I've grew up, they've never once gone to McDonald's. So
that's really fun. I do remember those toys. I remember, if you want to look it up, maybe I'll put a picture in here. I remember the French fry guy. Kind of being scary looking.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe had like a blue face or something. I don't remember. I'm going to have to really look into this. It's going to be a blast from the past.
Wasn't he had a weird hat and or whatever? I don't know.
All right, we're look it up. Write it in the comments if you remember these toys or not. But
as you can tell, this is total improv here because we have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I actually just a couple of weeks ago was looking up like the deregulation of like marketing towards children in the 80s and how they like, you know, cereal companies had cartoons and toys and like General Mills actually owned like animation companies so they could make cartoons to then, you know, sell them and other things. And it's kind of an interesting thing because I feel like you and I are close to the same age, so we kind of grew up through that and we kind of got to see like, yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were everywhere, Batman was everywhere, like the Ghostbusters animated series was everywhere. You know, you just go down the list and it's like Transformers everywhere, you know, all these things. We just we got exposed to that a lot. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we look at it a little differently now that everyone else does. Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, that's what we got for this week's episode. If people are looking for more information, I'm assuming iowacentral.com or .edu would be the best place to go.
That's right.
I believe that's the website. If it's not, don't worry, just scroll to the bottom. Right in the description, there's going to be all the links you ever want. Look for Sean Mulvihill over there. And I can't wait to go, you know, check out the new Performing Arts Center. I haven't been in there since it's been redone. I haven't done anybody here done a walkthrough since they redid it? Oh, we do. Mackenzie did. Yeah. Lucky. All right, I'm next.
I think I was out of town when they did the ribbon cutting. Yeah. And I missed that one. I'm sorry.
Bummer. Yeah, you're at like all of them. So
just stop by anytime. I'll show you around.
Okay.
I'm in. All right. Cool. See, you do a podcast, you get some perks.
That's
on the
right.
side.
There are some.
I love it.
Well, I've got something for you. We have our mascot, Buster the Bulldog, and we're bulldogs for getting businesses and movie theaters or whatever it may be digitally online and across the world. And so we ask all our guests just to give Buster the Bulldog just a little rub on the head for good luck.
Okay, Buster.
Yes, Buster.
That's
and
fun.
he goes, thank you.
It's so funny he's even got his own collar.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Sean, this was great. Again, I learned a lot. And it's not like I don't think I'm going to learn a lot, but you know, you think you know musicals, you think you know plays and theaters. No.
Then you bring somebody like Sean with the energy and enthusiasm that he brought to this podcast.
Yeah. This is great. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.